Mike Nielsen leads a life dedicated to service and to adventure. For 14 years, Mike traveled the world, visiting over 30 countries across 4 continents. He has studied in the Dominican Republic, served as a Peace Corps volunteer in Paraguay, worked for an NGO in Nicaragua, and was stationed in Japan as a U.S. Navy sailor. Born in St. Louis, Missouri, Mike was raised in the Upton Road area of Virginia. And on today's episode of Auto Interview, it's my utmost pleasure and joy to have on the show today Mike Nielsen. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm doing fantastic. What about you, Peter?
Yeah, I'm doing very great, and it's so awesome and lovely to have you on the show today. I'm excited.
Likewise. Thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate the invitation.
Yeah. So, Mike, could you tell us about your book, Life Travel and the People in Between? How does this book come about? What inspired you to write Life Travel and the People in Between?
So, absolutely, I can tell you about it. So, Life Travel and the People in Between, it's a memoir. So, it's a real life travel story about how and why I fell in love with travel. And the story, it allows readers to um, visit with me some of the places that I've been to. So they'll be able to visit some very fascinating places, but also they'll be able to learn about some of the experiences in which I was able to travel. In case they have any ideas on like how to begin. Also, like the book, it introduces them to some of the interesting people who I've met along the way, and also
Mm.
from the people that I've met, readers, they'll be able to get the idea about like how to travel because like just you read my bio, so like I've been able to do the Peace Corps, like the Navy, like I work with NGOs. However, other people um, they've been able to like teach English, like dance, so they've been able to travel in other ways than I have. And how did the book come along? Traveling is something that like I've always been passionate about, something I wanted to do.
Wow.
And writing a book is the same thing. I always wanted to write a book. Um, and growing up, I read a lot of travel books because I wanted to learn how to travel myself. So like a secret is like I wrote this book kind of to myself. Like if I was younger and I wanted to learn how to travel, I wrote this book in a way that younger people um, they can they can gain better insight on how to become world travelers.
Wow. It's quite lovely to know. I love your description of that. Sounds very intriguing to me.
Thank you.
Yeah, now for readers who haven't read the book yet, and of course, without giving much information away, could we have a sneak of what we'd expect picking up life travel and the people in between?
Absolutely. So obviously, it's a book about travel, my
Yeah.
travel experiences. But I guess like there are quotes. The first quote and then the last quote of the book, they kind of go together. And I don't know if a lot of like readers, realized it. But the first quote is a quote by Ella Fitzgerald, the famous
Oh,
American jazz singer. But it goes something along the lines of, it's not where you come from, it's where you're going that matters. And
absolutely.
then the second quote that I want to say, it's like the last quote of the book, and it goes along the lines of, if you can get to a point where you ask yourself, like, are you at peace with who you are? And the answer is yes, then you figured it all out. And basically, that's what my book is about. It's not only traveling to different destinations, but it's getting to a point where, I'm satisfied with who I am, what I'm doing, the people who I'm surrounded by. It's
Mm.
just getting to that stage in my life. And it's something that, it's not something that I've done. It's something that I'm constantly working on like throughout my life. And I
Yeah.
just want readers to be able to understand that. But again, they'll be able to visit some of the places that, I've traveled to and um, just go through some of the experiences that I've been through when they read the book.
Wow. Wow, I love the sound of your book. It sounds very intriguing and quite captivating to me. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
sharing. And I'm a huge fan of travelogue, especially that has to do with memoir, which is sounds very intriguing to me as well. I love it. Now,
Appreciate that.
I'm also curious to know if you experienced any challenges in the process of writing your book, particularly knowing that it's a travel log and it's a memoir too. If there's any challenges you've encountered while writing it, could you share with us what challenge it is and how you ultimately overcame it?
Yes, so there have been like a bunch of challenges. Like every step of the way has been a challenge, from like writing the book
Mm,
to publishing it to marketing the book. Writing the book was a big challenge because you start with one word and had to get all the way to 80,000 words. But also, like I wrote the book to basically, it was a goal, it was a project that I wanted to do. And like I realized that people, they started buying it, they started reading it, they became like engaged like in the story. So I figured, I better start like marketing it to more people. Just to, because it was getting positive feedback. So just marketing has been a challenge. Just trying to find the right target audience and like and get them to basically like just buy and read the book.
wow. I love that. I love your take on that. That's quite nice to know. Now, there's this question that I love asking authors that come
Yeah.
on my show, and I've been always fascinated on how writers, especially novelists like yourself, craft long words and bring sentences together in a way that it eventually make a great novel. This always leave me thinking about how exactly they got their ideas and inspiration. Now, as far as writing is concerned, I'd also love to ask you, how do you get your inspiration and ideas?
Right. So that's a great question. And I look at writing, like to be a writer is sort of like being an artist. In my
Mm,
mind, there are like two types of artists. You have the artists who can basically think of something in their mind and just draw it out. And to me, like these are the writers who can, just think of an ideal, a creative ideal, and use their imagination to create like a beautiful story.
yeah,
And then you have the kind of artist who can like sit in the park and like draw what's in front of them. So they need like that inspiration. And me,
absolutely.
like I'm that kind of person. Um, I relate more to like the second type of artist. And as far as my travels have gone, like I've taken like a lot of photos, a lot of videos.
Mm,
So, I was able to pull from like the photos and like the videos that I had and basically try to figure out how to turn like the photos. Well, they brought back memories. So I would try to think like how I felt in that moment.
mm.
Um, and basically turn them into words to create the story like in my book. So that was my inspiration right there, just like the photos, the stories. I had like messages from like Facebook Messenger that I would look through just to remember the conversations, emails, like
Mm,
all of that.
absolutely. Wow, that sounds very amazing to me, and I love your take on your ideas and inspiration. Really made for an interesting discussion. Now, as authors, we all have different ways of reacting to feedbacks and criticism of our works. I'm
Yeah.
curious to know your opinion about negative reviews. How do you react to negative criticism of your books if you've ever had one in time past?
Well, I love positive feedback, but I understand that, the book, it doesn't resonate with everyone the same.
Mm,
But the way I look at it is, like the people buying the book, like they work hard, like to, earn like their money, and then they dedicate, 7 or 8 hours of their lives like reading the book.
read the
And
book.
they could have, and there are millions of books out there, but they decided to choose my book. So that alone like earns them the right to critique it however they want to.
Mm.
That's how I look at it.
Oh.
And um, like I say, everybody won't resonate with the book the same. Some people will have negative reviews, and it's just a way for me just to take that criticism. And should I decide to write another book, just improve upon like whatever those criticisms are.
Mm. Well, I love your take on that. I love your answer to that question. Really made
Thank
fun.
you.
Very nice to know. Now, Mike, apart from life travel and the people in between, do you have any other works you've authored or maybe currently working on?
Not really. Like before the book came out, like I had a website, and this website is still up. It's called brogotravel.com, and it's
Oh,
basically to put out like travel advice. And like I started creating this website around, uh, well, as soon as I started posting, like COVID happened, so I was like,
oh,
there's no point in me posting like travel, if people can about travel if people can't travel. So I kind of stopped, but every once in a while, like I'll encounter someone like an author or like someone I look up to, and I'll do
mm,
an interview. I'll send them some questions, they answer those questions, and I'll post that on like the website.
mm.
But other than that, like I haven't thought about writing another book. Like I said, like writing a book is a project, or it was a project that I always thought about doing, and I did it. It's done. But like there's nothing off the table. One day I decide to write another book,
Yeah.
maybe I'll do it. But now I haven't. There's nothing concrete.
Oh, that's so fun. I love your take on that. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Now, could you tell us what publishing is like for a published author like yourself? Are there any challenges you've encountered ever since you got published?
So for people looking to self-publish, um, it's a process, and the first process is the writing process, and I
Mm,
believe, like for me, that process took the longest, and there might be some research involved in that process, and then like the next step is the editing process, which is probably the most important,
yeah,
because if you're putting out a book, you want it to be like in you know top shape, and I give a lot of
absolutely.
credit to the editors out there, because like my first draft, it didn't look like it didn't look anything like it does now. But the editors, like they went through it and they made like corrections that turned it into like a book that's receiving positive reviews.
Yeah.
So once the book is edited, um, authors have to move on to the formatting process, and that's basically putting it in the form of an ebook, or
Mm,
putting it in the form of a paperback or hard cover, like whatever
yeah.
format the author wants. And once that's done, it's like writing, editing, formatting, and then you want the book cover. So you got to design the book cover,
Yeah.
um, and then and then publishing the book. So you have to go through a distributor, like a bunch of distributors, like or not a bunch. The two biggest ones are Amazon and um, Ingram Sparks. Those are the two big ones that like I
Yeah.
know of, and I work with both of them actually. But once the book is published, you gotta. I recommend you gotta tell people about it, whether it's your friends, family,
Absolutely.
like people that you know on social media,
Yeah.
and also there are marketing tools like Facebook, Amazon. But you have to put the word out. Otherwise, the book is just sitting there.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
like I said earlier, that's been like the biggest challenge for me. It's been doing pretty good as far as sales go. I probably
Yeah.
average like one sale per day, which to me is good because I didn't expect anybody to read it. But
Mm.
you have to constantly promote it as an author.
Yeah. That's so great. It's nice to know about your challenges and how you ultimately overcame them. And I love your answers. I love all you've mentioned so far. Now, I also love to ask you, Mike, is there anything that you love to share with the viewers about your travel book that we did not mention in this interview? I'd love the viewers to know.
Yeah. Well, I like to thank the viewers for watching this, and I would like to thank also the people who have purchased the book. Thank you for purchasing the book, reviewing it if you've done that.
Mm,
Um, but in the end, it's a book about following dreams, and that's why I think like even people who really they don't like or they're not into like the travel aspect of it,
yeah.
um, they can connect with the dreams portion of it, because
Mm,
it has been an experience that has had its ups and downs, but it's about like me and my determination and resilience to basically be able to pursue what I was passionate about, and I think
oh,
that's what resonates and inspires readers.
wow. That's so great to know. That's so fun to know. Now, as a
Thank you.
published author, what sort of advice do you have for other writers who are still struggling with publishing a book? What would you advise people in this category?
Yeah. So one thing that I noticed, like I do book signings. I talk to my coworkers, and like I didn't know before, but like so many people, they are like me. Like I wanted to write a book, and I wrote it, but it's writing it down. That's the hardest part, just
Mm.
starting it, because it seems like a daunting process, and it is,
Yeah.
but you have to begin. So like anyone who's, thinking about writing a book, just, don't worry about, creating a perfect book on that first draft. Because
Mm.
I went through dozens of drafts, and even the
Wow.
final drafts, I read through it dozens of times. Like I read through the book so many times that I'm actually like tired of the book.
Wow.
But um, just if you have a goal to write a book, just start it. It's going to be tough, but work through it, and in the end, like you'll be satisfied when you're holding up like the paperback copy of your book.
Absolutely. You feel the joy of having your name inscribed in the front page of a book. It's
Exactly, because it's
it's
a project that you completed, and like to me, that's what
absolutely.
feels so great. And also the fact that people are actually like buying the book and reading the book, and
Mm.
providing positive feedback. And like people
Absolutely.
contact me on Instagram saying they read the book, or like I
Wow.
received a couple of emails. Like that means a lot to me, and that's why like I'm so
Yeah.
thankful. I feel really blessed because
Yeah.
I had a goal. I completed it, and people, they resonated with it.
That's great. That's very amazing. And now, so in case we have some interested viewers who are watching this interview and they would love to get a copy of the book, on what platform are they available on for purchase?
So it's available on major online retailers, retail sites like Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Bookshop, um, like any major online retailer. You can buy the book there.
Okay.
And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm on Instagram, bro go travel. You can find me there. Also, my email address is there. Shoot me a message on Instagram or shoot me an email. Like I love hearing from like viewers or potential readers. I just love being in contact with people. That's what the book is about. It's about me traveling and just connecting with people along the way.
Yeah. That's great. And I left a link in the description part of this interview
Oh,
where
that's awesome. I
interested
appreciate
viewers
that.
can get a copy of Mike Nason's books directly on Amazon. And I also left a link to his media platform where interested viewers too can follow him up there and reach out to him directly. So thank you so much, Mike, for accepting the invitation to be featured on P English Literature. It's awesome having this conversation with you.
All right, thank you, Peter. And again, thank you for having me on the show. Like it means the world to me. I didn't imagine this when I published the book, and now I'm on
Wow,
your show.
that's amazing. Very amazing. Thank you. Now,